Hi guys, I'm Bart from Platinum Wave Automotive. If you're watching this video, that means you've just become a newest member of the Platinum Wave family. This video will essentially be your virtual handover. I'm going to explain all the features and benefits, show you how to use certain things, and this will be your digital owner's handbook. Right guys, so let's start with the rear. The rear door of a transporter will give you two options, either barn doors or a tailgate. Majority of our camper vans have a tailgate, and this is purely customer's choice. However, the functionality of the conversion behind the rear door, whether it's a barn door or tailgate, does not change. Right, so this particular camper has a rock and roll bed fitted to it, which means the bed is assembled right at the back of the vehicle. I will explain the position and the functionality of the rib bed later on in the video. Right below the bed you have a cupboard which also has access from the inside of the vehicle. Right under the bed you have a water tank which you can fill in through two options. You can unscrew the cap, the black cap. If you have a garden hose, you can simply fill in the water tank without moving it, or you can undo the security strap, simply take out the water tank, fill it in and put it back in, secure it with the strap, put the black cap on, and that's it, job done. Okay, right next to it you have a gas box that's indicated by a red LPG sticker. All our gas installations are done by registered gas engineers. They all safety checked, verified. Okay, how to input the gas bottle into the gas box? You simply set aside the gas cover. Inside the gas box you have three things: the vent, which is part of the security measures for the gas installation. You have the security strap, which you will use to secure the gas bottle, stops it from moving, and also you have the valve, which you simply assemble the gas bottle to it by screwing the gas bottle. Once the gas bottle is tightened, you open the valve right at the top, and that means the gas line is live. Okay, so once you've got the bottle tightened on the valve, you simply put the bottle in, use the secure strap to secure it, and then you'll put the cover back on, use the clip, and that is it. Right, what else do we have at the rear? You've got a reading light on and off. You can change the position. Okay, you've got a additional cupboard at the back. Common questions: is this a seating bench? No, it isn't. This will simply form a mini bedboard when the bed is down. Okay. In the tailgate, you've got a tailgate release button right here. When the bed is down, the button release is right above the bed. So should you lie down and have a nice view at the rear of the camper, you can simply flick the tailgate, open it, mega view. You've got a luxury blind here that moves up and down, and that is it really at the rear. Let's jump inside. Right guys, so we are inside the camper van. This particular one is our short wheelbase Windsor layout with a rock and roll bed. If you're watching this video and your options is slightly different, that will be covered in this video later on, so please do not worry. Right, so let's start with the electricals. So the vehicle is fitted with two batteries. It has a vehicle battery which is located under the bonnet, and it also has a leisure battery which is fitted right underneath this cupboard. The camper van is fitted with a split charging unit which is responsible for both batteries to receive an equal charge whilst the vehicle is driving. Okay, when the vehicle is on electric hookup, three things happen. One, it feeds the power to the microwave. Okay, it feeds additional charge to the leisure battery, and it also allows you to use the 3-pin socket should you want to use some home appliances. Now quickly to touch up on the microwave cannot be run on the leisure battery. It would simply swallow the battery within few seconds. Okay, so the microwave can only be run on an electric hookup. I will explain where the electric hookup is outside the camper just in few minutes. Okay, now carrying on with the electricals, this is where all your wiring harnesses professionally installed, all your fuses and everything else is, the main switches. Now this black box here, which is the electronic battery charger, has to be switched on when your vehicle is plugged in on an electric hookup. Now how do you recognize if the charger is switched on? There is a green button right there that has to be pushed in. If the light is illuminating green, that means the vehicle is charging. If for some reason you don't see the green light illuminating, that means you just have to press the button in until the green light comes on. So moving on, You have a wireless phone charger fitted here. This is one of our newest features that we've added to our layout. Okay, the 3-pin socket, as I explained earlier, that is fed through the electric hookup. The USB chargers, they run off the leisure battery, therefore they are available at odd times. Okay, we're now leading on to the control panel with multiple buttons here. So if we start from the top left, for example, that switches on the whole system. So this is the main power button to switch on the whole system in the camper van. Okay, so quick press, everything is on. Okay, so the second button on the top line is a button indicating 12V. That button switches on the 3 spotlights that are located just above the sliding door. Right, moving on, the third button in the top line has a picture of a tap. That button switches on the water pump. So should you want to use the tap from the water tank that I've showed you earlier in the video, that button has to be illuminated blue. That indicates the water pump is on and the tap is working. You can see. Right, so moving on to the fourth button in the top line, a picture of a light. So that button switches off the 2 strip lights, one in the plinth at the bottom of the kitchen and one just right above the cooker. Okay, now we're moving on down to the bottom line of the buttons. The first 2 buttons at the bottom, they show you the level of the battery charge. So one indicates the vehicle battery charge and the second one indicates the leisure battery charge. When it comes to our layout, we always anticipate to achieve the least amount of what's called the dead space as possible. Therefore, when it comes to design of our layouts, we try to be as accommodating with the space and with the cupboards as possible. Therefore, you have enormous amount of space all around the camper. Plenty of storage, and as I mentioned at the beginning of the video when I was at the rear, you also have access to the storage under the bed. Right, and the next amazing feature is our table. Okay, so the table, again, to maximize the space, is located behind the driver's seat, held on by a few clips to eliminate any rattles. So this rail here is designed for the purpose of holding the table. Right, so if we take the table out behind the driver's seat, it's important that when you lift the leg, you slide the base of the leg where the arrow is pointing. Otherwise, there is a risk that you might rip the base of the leg. So slide it towards where the arrow is pointing, lift it up, flip it, and then simply place it on the rail, and there are 2 security clips under the rail to make sure that it's solid. Okay, and also the beauty about our table design is that you can move it back and forth depending where do you want the table to be. Okay, and also when you want to place the table back where it was, undo the clips, flip it, again slide it where the arrow is pointing, bring it down, okay, and then you place the table behind the driver's seat. The leg is always facing the seat, and then you just use the clips to secure the table to make sure there is no rattles. Job done. Right, okay, next option, double gas burner with the electric starter. This is linked to the gas installations that I mentioned earlier while I was showing you the gas box at the rear. Sink with a tap. Again, you will recall when I mentioned that the button on the control panel has to be switched on and illuminated blue. You open the tap and simply the water pump will feed the fresh water into the tap. Okay, now naturally you will ask, where does the water go? So the water outlet is just underneath the vehicle and it simply goes into the ground, as let's face it, from a camper van the waste would be fairly clean. Let me show you where the outlet is. Right, so the water outlet is located right underneath the vehicle, right about here, about a foot in deep, somewhere in the middle of the vehicle, right there. Most campsites are okay with you running the water right into the ground. If they're not, you will be informed to put a bucket or a tray underneath the waste pipe. Right, so the electric hookup is right here, just right above the rear driver's door. Round plug. Now what you need to get yourself is a electric hookup cable. We don't supply these with our camper vans, however they aren't expensive. You can get them on Amazon, Go Outdoors, any camping shop. So simply cable where on one end you will have a round plug that will go into the camper. On the other end you will have an adapter where you'll have normal 3-pin plug, or without the adapter a round plug. Okay, when you're purchasing these cables, make sure you get the one with the adapter, as that way you're covered for both options. Okay, so that goes in to the power supply, and then that round plug, you lift the flap. Make sure there is approximately 90 degrees between the flap and the plug. You lift the flap, the blue flap from the cable goes inside, and then you simply push the cable. Now, very important, a common issue where customers plug it in. It seems like it's plugged in, however the power is not going into the camper. You have to give it a fairly firm push until you hear the click. That way it's plugged in. Now when you unplug in the cable, you simply press the blue lever down and you plug it out. Our Windsor layout has a cupboard underneath the microwave which is designed to fit a porta potty. It is a specific model that you have to purchase, but we will provide you that information. So right, that cupboard there, you can fit your toilet in there, shut it, and it's out of the way. Right, next on the agenda is the fridge. Works exactly the same as your home fridge. Light which goes off when the door is shut, temperature control inside. There is an isolation switch located just right above the table, which allows you to switch the fridge off completely should you not use the camper for a few weeks or even a few months. Right guys, so while we're on the Windermere layout, if your camper is a long wheelbase Windermere, the only difference is you'll end up with the kitchen slightly longer as the floor panel is longer, and you'll get an extra cupboard in there. And also some of our campers have water tank under the bed, as I mentioned earlier, and some of them have a water tank inside the kitchen. The functionality of the water pump is exactly the same, and the capacity is also exactly the same. If you have a long wheelbase Windsor layout, the only difference in terms of the kitchen units is this extra cupboard here. In terms of the functionality of the kitchen and the camper and the features and benefits is exactly the same. Right, now the bed part. How do you put down the rock and roll bed? Okay, pretty simple. You put the two cushions aside, you grab the seat belts and pull towards you, simply because it will allow for the bed to go down smoothly. There is a handle underneath the bed that you simply lift up, pull the bed, and then just use your own weight to bring the bed down, and it's that simple. The one thing to look out for, there is a strap on the right hand side of the bed which will allow you to lift the bed up when you're trying to bring the bed back to the seating position. Right, how to bring the bed back up. The strap that I mentioned earlier, you use to give a gentle pull and the bed will almost travel on its own, and you use the handle here which has 5 to 6 different seating positions which will define the incline of the sofa. So if we bring it right back up, it's fairly upright. However, if you want it to be in a little bit more relaxed position, you can bring the bed back forward and secure it, and then the backrest is a little bit more relaxed. Right, so now I show you how to turn the passenger seat. When it comes to the passenger seat, you have two options. You either have a single captain's chair or a double bench seat. I'm going to show you how to do both. So this particular one has a single passenger seat, so let's start with that. Okay, so single passenger seat. There is a handle there which you simply lift off and you turn the seat 180 degrees and the seat locks in its position. And the same when it's reverse, you lift the handle at the front and simply do the same turn. The one thing to add is that the handle will always travel with the seat, so the handle will always be at the front of the seat to ease off the operation. if you have a single passenger seat in your camper, the black box underneath the seat, it's a safety box where you get a key. It's a metal solid box where you can place your belongings while the camper is open and you're at the beach, at the campsite, cycling, kayaking, whatever you might be doing when you leave the door open. Okay, so we have just covered the functionality of the captain's chair. Now, of course, some of our campers will have a bench seat at the front depending on customer's choice. So let me show you how you operate the bench seat. Okay, so the bench seat has 2 bolts at the front, 2 bolts at the rear. Each bolt has a little pin that goes through it. All you have to do is unscrew the bolts and hang them on the pins. There you go, 2 at the rear and 2 at the front. Now, providing the headrests are down and the armrest is up, all you have to do is give a little push and then turn it anti-clockwise when you're turning the bench seat to the front. Bring it back to the original position and then secure it with the 4 bolts. Again, 2 at the front, 2 at the rear. Hand tight is absolutely fine. The swivel base is crash tested and certified. So, and that is job done. Okay, so now let's reverse the movement and let's turn the bench seat facing the kitchen at the back. So again, 2 bolts at the front, 2 bolts at the rear. Unscrew them, hang them on the swivel base. Now, the one thing to remember here, that if you're turning the bench seat towards the camper at the rear, you have to turn it anti-clockwise. If you're turning the bench seat to face the road, you're turning it clockwise. Okay, right, so let me show you the movement. Okay, so give it a little push. There you go, you bring it back to original position. The swivel base will indicate the perfect position. Essentially, you can't go wrong, as the bolts will only drop in the same hole. That's it. Hands tight is absolutely fine, and that is it. Right, guys, so let me show you how to operate the roof. Now, quick little tip before we move on to the roof. The roof operation, it's a lot easier when the seat, regardless whether it's a captain's chair or a bench seat, when the seat is facing towards the rear of the camper, as the backrest is far forward, and then you have simply more space when you operate the roof. Right, guys, so it's important that when you're closing the roof, you bring the bedboard down first, then the roof. If you leave the bedboard up and you bring it together down with the roof, there is a risk that the canvas gets stuck under the bedboard and it could potentially damage it. So bedboard down first, just like that, and now the roof. There are 2 ways how to close the roof. You have 2 handles fitted to the roof, so you can simply get in and pull the roof by the handles, or you can simply use these straps and simply use your weight to bring the roof down using them straps. Now, to point out that this little strap here is designed to bring the canvas inwards when you're closing the roof. Okay, now when the roof is down, you simply tuck the canvas in and then use the straps to secure the roof like that, and then you tuck the straps in. So it's nice and neat. There is also a wind deflector fitted at the front of the vehicle, so you have double security. You have wind deflector and you have the straps to keep the roof nice and tight. Now, when you're opening the roof, simply bring the straps down, open both straps, and give a gentle push. The roof sits on hydraulics, therefore it will travel on its own. Nice and simple. And then when it's nearly up, push the bedboard. The bedboard also sits on hydraulics, therefore it will travel on its own. Nice and easy. So this is the wind deflector that I've mentioned. Increases the aerodynamics and improves the security of keeping the roof down. Right, guys, so when it comes to the roof, you've got 2 little mesh windows on the side to increase ventilation on a hot day, as well as the little a clear view at the front, which can be rolled in and then simply secured with the straps there. So it's nice and bright when the bedboard is down. So just to highlight, the bedboard can hold up to 200 kilograms, and it also has a space between the bedboard and the roof to allow for a mattress and possibly a thin bedding to stay up there whilst you've got the bedboard up. Right guys, so we are now at the front of the vehicle. It will be just like driving any other modern car. A lot of features, a lot of toys. When it comes to gadgets, majority of our orders are Highline trim level, which means it has a lot of toys on it. Stuff like sensors front and rear, reversing camera, Apple CarPlay, heated mirrors, folding mirrors, heated front screen, and much more. We want the vehicle to feel just as premium at the rear with our luxury conversion, as well as driving it. Okay, when it comes to the warranty, the vehicle itself has 3 years manufacturer's warranty from the day of registration, and we give you a 12 months warranty on the conversion from the point of collection. And now our warranty is back to base, so you would have to bring the vehicle back to us. However, safety comes first, so if the issue is safety related, of course we are open to conversation. The final thing I need to point out is the charging process. So as I mentioned earlier, when the vehicle is driving, it feeds the leisure battery with charge. However, you'd have to drive for 24 hours non-stop to give the leisure battery a full charge. Therefore, the process is that you'd have to charge the leisure battery on an electric hookup overnight for minimum 12 hours, minimum once a month. Therefore, the battery receives a full charge, and then driving it then maintain a very slow decrease until the next hookup charge. Of course, if you planning a trip, if you're planning a road trip, or you're going camping, it's wise to give the vehicle a full charge before you leave. However, that monthly charge is very important, as that will keep the leisure battery healthy. Okay, so I hope you find this information helpful. If you need any further demonstration or any further guidelines, please don't hesitate to contact us. I hope you enjoy your Platinum Wave vehicle, and I wish you happy camping.